Hey everybody, this is Jeff with Critical Vibrations, and I wanted to take a few minutes to show off our new live pack, the Circuit Bent Collection. It's a huge library of 140 instruments, all based on circuit bent devices. Circuit bending has been a hobby of mine for a few years now, and I'm sure you already know, circuit bending is the art and science of hacking sound-making toys and keyboards and making them make weird sounds. I have hours of audio recordings of these devices that I've bent myself, and I've created this live pack to replicate some of the sounds that you can obtain on your own keyboard or push or controller of choice. So I don't have time to go through all 140 instruments in this video, but I would like to take a few minutes to give you a general walkthrough and show you some of the highlights. So when you load up this live pack, after it's installed, you'll see there's 10 different categories into which these instruments are loosely grouped. I say loosely because a lot of these sounds are rather hard to categorize. So some of the things that I've decided to put into the pads category, you might feel is better called a soundscape or an effect. So if you disagree with me on the categorization, then I stand corrected. So let's dive in. I believe there are 8 different drum kits, and the 420 kit, for example, is a fairly straightforward drum kit, but it's got a few cool tweaks to it. It's got a built-in delay and some bit crushing parameters. So make sure you play with those. You'll also notice, this is a great example, a lot of these instruments I've added extra info which you can see when you hover over here. Notice my cursor is hovered over the name of the device, and just to the left of it, in this area, it gives us a few tips on how to get the most out of this instrument. So with this one, with the 420 kit, you'll see that it's cluing us in that send A is routed to a filter delay. So look for that extra info. I've tried to include tips when it's warranted on a lot of these instruments, especially the ones that have some interesting macro mappings, as a lot of them do. So the El Drummo is another interesting kit. It's got a very toy-like sound, and you can already tell there that whatever snare-ish, it's called tick. It's got a delay on it. So again, we've got send A and send B both routed towards separate delays. So that way you can really tweak out the sound of this. Bit Nibble is a really strange kit. This one is based on very short samples, I believe from a circuit bent speak and math. Pop Scar and Meatsicle are both based on glitched out vocal samples. Here's Meatsicle. Let's move on to the, let's take a look at some of the pads. I think there are probably close to a couple dozen pads. I can't remember. I come from an ambient music background, so pads are kind of hold a dear place in my heart. The glass pad is basic. It's basic, but it's nice. It reminds me of running your finger around the top of a wine glass. The Dream Pad has some kind of trippy things going on. Watch as I'm doing the filter sweeps on this. Some of the pads are almost straight samples. Some of the keyboards, I've got a few keyboards from the 80s that I've hacked, and when they get confused through the circuit bending process, sometimes they basically throw a bunch of different instruments together, jumble them up, and out comes the result. And sometimes it's pure gibberish, sometimes it's unexpectedly beautiful or interesting combinations. Soft hits. That's basically a straight sample from, I think it might be the MK Ultra, which is one of my circuit bent Kawaii keyboards from the 80s. Tradewinds. Is another one from that subcategory of confused keyboard instruments. There are some interesting sound effect sample instruments I've got too. Proton gun. One of the things I've noticed about the very digital and aliased lo-fi sounds that you get from circuit bent devices is that they lend themselves really well, a lot of times, to frequency modulation. So a lot of these instruments have FM assigned to a macro knob, as this one does. So you can really tailor the sound, customize it the way you want. One more of the special effect sounds I wanted to show you. Interrobang is an interesting one because every single note of the keyboard has been mapped to a different sample. And this is also from the circuit bent speaking math. So basically you can use this to create glitched out, strange rhythm patterns. Definitely take advantage of the FM. Funkify gives a kind of a wah pedal effect from using an auto filter, a filter envelope. Let's turn that up. It works best with the Q or the resonance up a little bit and the filter frequency down a little bit. Will give you a really strong wah effect. And Randify is the percentage chance that any note that you hit will instead output a different random note. Or sample, since these really aren't notes per se. Click the Show Device button right here. And we've got a bunch more settings. You can transpose it up or down. Let's bring back down that Funkify so we can hear what we're doing. And a bunch of other things that you can play with. Again, check out the info, the extra text that I've added to the info view for some hints on how to use this. What else can I show you? There's some beautiful keys. Isabella keys is from the first toy that I ever circuit bent. It's a no-name brand, Chinese-made, cheap-ass toy that I basically hacked the living daylights out of, and really got some beautiful beautiful samples out of. So that's just one of the keys. There's a whole bunch of keys, whole bunch of leads too. The large Hadron lead. You can't see me pressing down, but the large Hadron lead has aftertouch built in that's attached to the vibrato, so you can get some really expressive performances out of this. So that's kind of an overview. I could spend a lot more time going through this, which you will have fun exploring all the sounds in this collection. The Circuit Bent collection, you can get it right now at criticalvibrations.com. And that's all for now. Enjoy making music. Thanks for watching.